Hey guys, it's Chef Brackman. Story time. I have a lot of stories, so I think we're going to regularize story time and call it Stories with Lessons. Today's story is from my time in boarding school. So, in my final year in boarding school, my entire set was suspended. Let me tell you what happened. Our principal had invited us for what she calls grooming lessons. And every set before us had done it like one Saturday or a few Saturdays, I don't remember, but they went to the mini stadium where she taught them catwalking. And mind you, half the school was already catwalking because the sets before will practice what they've learned and somehow it triggers down to the junior years. But okay, and my sets, I don't know why my sets in particular didn't really find it funny. And maybe because our principal was a little bit overweight, they were like, look at who is going to teach us how to walk properly and all of that. I don't know where the disrespect came from, but people were already deciding they were not going. And then on the day we were invited, which was a Saturday, we were supposed to go after inspection because they do hostel inspections on Saturdays. And right as the inspections ended, it started raining. So people found it as their, sign not to go. I didn't go. Nobody went. I think maybe a few prefects might have reached there, but basically nobody went. So this angered our principal greatly. And on Monday, like the next school day, every Form 6 girl was assembled to the mini stadium and we were asked to kneel down. So we knelt down for hours, wondering what is our fate? What will be the punishment? I guessed cutting grass because there were at least 600 of us. So I didn't think she was going to flog all of us. Even if she recruited all the teachers to come with canes, it would still be a lot of people to flog. So I just felt they'll make us go and cut grass somewhere. So after hours of kneeling down, speculating, wondering what is going on, teachers now arrived with stacks of paper that printed our suspension letter. Let me read you this suspension letter because I never forgot it. It was personalized. So your child, Adana Izora, is hereby suspended for insubordination. Then it goes to detail, she was invited for these grooming lessons, blah, blah, blah. And then it concludes with, for such disregard of constituted authority, she's hereby suspended from, gives dates, 2 weeks, and that it was immediate effect and wanted to leave the school immediately. Now, this is what anger can do because she suspended more than 600 girls aged 15 to 17 without informing their parents. It was 2003. Not even all parents had cell phones at this time or emails for that matter. And not all of them lived in Owerri, where the school was. My mom lived in Enugu at this time, but my dad was on Bonny Island. So, and then not all students had money for transport. Luckily, I had some, and my money could get me to Enugu. Because Port Harcourt, if I had gone to Bonny, I would have had to sleep in Port Harcourt, which means I have to pre-arrange to sleep somewhere in Port Harcourt and then find a boat to Bonny the next day. So I figured going to Enugu was more straightforward. So I went straight to the park and went to Enugu. What lessons did I learn for myself? At the time, I was a chronic floor member. Like at home, I'd had a lot of responsibilities, first child, first daughter, always looking out for someone else. So when I went to boarding school, I was determined to just not make any decision, just go with what was happening. So I'm just reflecting now, if I had decided to go, if I had inspired at least 3 people to go with me, if as we were going, more people decided to join, run to mini stadium, it wasn't even heavy rain, right? Maybe at least 20% of us might have arrived and maybe the punishment would not have been so severe, but nobody went and everybody got suspended. So I just want you to stop underestimating your influence. Just do the right thing wherever you can. You're a shining light and you might think that you're not bright, but just keep showing the example that doing the right thing can be beneficial. That was the lesson I learned for myself upon reflection. And when I had gotten home, my mom was so angry and she kept asking me, did you at least go? I said I did not go. And that made her mad. I said, you should have gone. Even if your set still got punished or suspended, you should have gone. And then for the woman herself, our principal, anger and maybe I don't know, her ego got in the way because it was children in an exam year. We had to write WAEC. Our result was part of her KPI. And missing 2 weeks of study on suspension was not the right move. They endangering more than 600 girls aged 15 to 17, just sending us all out of school. And this story has a second part, and I will tell you next time. What do you think? Put your comments and put your thoughts in the comments. Have a good day.